In the last video, I started cleaning the shed, and today it is time to finish this job. By the end of today, all of this junk will be gone. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. There's secret door there. I have just found this prehistoric handheld vacuum cleaner. Oh. Hi, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Veronica and I'm currently renovating my 500 square meters allotment garden in the city center of Warsaw. Today we are back in the shed to clean out all of the junk that has been accumulated here in the past 50 years. And yes, I'm afraid that I played an important part in the creation of this mess. The full story of this garden is quite long and complicated, and I've already told it before on this channel. So if you're curious about how this shed became such a mess, please just check out the previous videos of this series. The plan for today is pretty simple. Get all of the stuff out of the shed, decide on what stays, and get rid of the rest. This is one last cleanup before we can move on to the exterior of the shed and finally start making some pretty progress on this project. All right, first things first, as you might have seen in one of my previous videos, my old wheelbarrow completely gave up on me. So I got a new one. Let's first assemble it because I will definitely need it to haul all of this trash out of the garden. Okay, this is better. If you think that putting together a simple wheelbarrow with a couple of screws should not be a very complicated process, I'm here to prove you wrong. Something about the awkward shape of the handles made it just impossible for me to understand how are they supposed to be attached to the wheelbarrow. Something's wrong.
This is missing. That makes sense. Alright, now the other one. This should be easier. Hopefully.
But after half an hour and some gymnastics, I finally made it work.
Okay, first job of the day, done.
Okay, now back to the main task of today. I'm going to start bringing all of this junk out, and everything that has to be thrown out goes straight into trash bags. Digging through the piles of trash, I was not expecting any discoveries more exciting than an unusually big spider. But then this happened. Oh my god. There's a hole in the wall in there. But I have never noticed it before. This is crazy. Okay, I had to clean it up a little bit so you know what I'm actually talking about. But there's a gigantic hole in the wall that leads to, I'm assuming, the secret room in the basement that I always thought must have like secret door, but I never knew where it is. And apparently it's here. But this definitely looks like rat territory. Like, there's a bunch of trash in there. It smells disgusting. I think for now I'm going to let it be, clean up the rest of this mess, and yeah, take a closer look at this hole a little bit later. Now that I have discovered this hole in the wall, I'm like so terrified every time I'm moving something that a rat will jump at me. Oh. Ugh. I must admit that I underestimated this job a little bit. I was of course aware that the shed is in a miserable condition and that there's a lot of stuff in there, but I don't think I truly understood just how many things were stored inside. Not so long ago, Poland was a rather poor country. Under control of Soviet Russia, resources were scarce, things were often difficult to get, and that's why people would not say goodbye to them easily. And as much as I appreciate growing up in a society that was not yet obsessed with consuming, that's how many years later I ended up with tens of spools of rusted wires, or 10 different door locks with 100 mismatched keys. Maybe with this backsplash I'm gonna be a proper YouTuber now, no? I think it's about time to say goodbye to the things I just won't be able to put to a good use anymore. I have just found this prehistoric handheld vacuum cleaner. Oh. Oh, it's something soft. It feels like rats would love it. That's an entire box of nails. Okay, so I took a really good look at the hole in the wall and made a couple of interesting discoveries. So first of all, this is not the entrance to the secret basement room that I was talking about. This seems to be a crawl space underneath the kitchen area that I haven't realized until now is actually an addition to the original house. This also kind of ruins my plan for kitchen renovation because I was planning to open up a wall between the main room and the kitchen to make it a little bit more spacious, but because this is an addition, it means that that wall is load bearing, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. And about the crawl space itself, it's not a huge space, but there's a lot of stuff in there, so I think for today I'm going to board it up and it's going to be a problem for another day. And just like that, I finally started seeing a light at the end of this cleanup, which, as always, took way more effort than I had expected. I hauled out the last pieces of trash, swept away thousands of cobwebs, and dragged out an old table that was no longer needed in this shed. Then I was left with this gigantic mess in front of the house. There was an absolutely insane amount of plastic planters. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of them. So many tools, some of them incredibly old and strange, used by generations who had cared for this garden before me. I found more rusted nails and screws than I ever wished to see again, and multiple locks with no matching keys. But buried beneath all the dust and cobwebs, I also discovered small fragments of history of this garden. There were old packages of photography film, backdrops, and even a vintage lens, hinting that a former owner might have been a photographer or a filmmaker. And sure, those things to me are still mostly junk, but it made me smile thinking about another gardener in times so different from my own. After an entire day of work, this cleanup is finally done. And I couldn't be any happier because I won't even lie to you guys. I was not having a lot of fun. This was one of the worst jobs I ever had to take care of in this garden. It was extremely dusty. There were so many spider webs and spiders. It was just a disgusting, filthy job. And I'm so happy it is now done. But do you guys remember this chaotic and messy space that this shed used to be? Well, this is how it looks now, and the difference is huge. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We have some really exciting videos coming up because after weeks of cleaning up, we will finally start making some pretty progress. Thanks so much for watching and see you next time.